Good morning, Bachman Middle School. Today is Wednesday, December 8th. It is a B day. It is a band day 6. And I am Mr. Strand with today's Tiger Talk. We're going to start things off with our word of the week. This week's word is precise. Precise means to be accurate, exact, and careful about details. I'm here in the facts room because the kitchen is one place where it's very important to be precise, especially when it comes to measurements. This is why personally, I always like to measure things by grams, use the metric system rather than measuring things by volume, such as a cup. To show that grams are a more precise unit of measurement than cups, I asked 3 members of Ms. Hoyt's TC to measure 1 cup of flour using different methods. Let's see how different these 3 cups are when weighed in grams. Method number 1, simply scooping up a cup of flour and leveling it off with a knife without doing anything else to it. The total weight of this cup of flour is 148 grams. Method number 2, scooping up a cup of flour, tapping it with a knife to help it settle, and then leveling it off. This comes to about the same, 147 grams, but it's slightly more loosely packed. And the third and final method is spooning flour into the cup using an actual spoon. Once you get the cup full, then you level it off without packing it down. Because we're using the spoon rather than scooping it up, this should give us the lightest and least packed amount of flour, which is what we actually want. So let's take a look. Sure enough, it's the lightest one. It comes to 137 grams. So as you can see, there was a difference of 11 grams between the first and last methods. That might not sound like a lot, but it can make a big difference in a recipe, which is why it's always important to be precise. A huge thank you to Bella, Sana, and McKenna for helping me out with that segment. Next up, it's time for What You're Reading, the segment where Bachman students and staff recommend books that they enjoy. Today's recommendation comes from 8th grade language arts teacher, Ms. Lee. Here she is.
All right, I would like to recommend The Hunger Games to you. It is one of my favorite books ever, and one of the reasons that I like it is because it's a series, and I really love series because they go on and they last longer, and I really am always sad when they end. But the reason that I love this one so much is about a girl named Katniss that has to go to fight to the death in something called the Hunger Games for the Capitol. And I love it so much because she is a character who is not perfect. She is flawed and she really struggles with things inside. She struggles about being selfish versus selfless. And you don't get that from the movies. You have to read the books to really see her internal struggle. And I just like an imperfect character because it reminds us that we can have a lot of amazing things inside of us and still not be perfect and still make a lot of mistakes and have a lot of selfish intentions inside. So I highly recommend that there's action, there's friendship, there's adventure, there's a little bit of love and romance, and it's just a great book. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Ms. Lee. And we do indeed have several copies of The Hunger Games in the Bachman Media Center. Finally, you probably noticed that it's snowing yesterday and it's supposed to snow again today. So another reminder to make sure to wear a coat if you have one. Bundle up to come to school. It's getting very cold outside and you don't want to be caught out in the cold. So as you can see, I'm outside in the snow with no coat on. Do I look cold to you? If you're outside in the snow with no coat on, you are in fact cold. So my recommendation, that's right, put your coat on. Christmassy hat optional, but always enjoyable. Now that I got my coat zipped up, my gloves on, that's all for today. We'll be back tomorrow with more Tiger Talk. See you then.